Hey there girls, guys, theys and thems. Welcome to Dee Dee's Designs. I'm Dee Dee. Today I'm starting a series that you should be familiar with if you're a curly girl called Use Your Stash. I'm going to go through in wash day order my opened stash. So the items I have that are opened that I'm working to try to get through so that they can become an empties. And then we will get to the unopened products that are in my stash before we hopefully even think about buying any more. Here's hoping. Okay, so at first I'm going to get started noting a item from my last video. If you didn't watch it, Texture ID did a thing, then you're missing out. But I had referenced a 19 item haul that was for an affordable brand at Sally Beauty's on a major sale, and when I was going through I realized I missed an item and I actually only gave you 18. Now, not a big deal. I probably could have kept moving forward without even bringing it up, but guess what? I'm not going to. Partially because I'm probably going to try it out, given that right now during filming it is sort of heavier weather, and I'm going to be going out for a nice long walk, so in that heat. So the one item I was missing in that 19 item haul that I got from Sally Beauty's was the brand Texture ID. It was their Thermal Protecting Shine and Seal Gloss. It was one of those items that was on sale for like $7.59. I'll let you take a look at that. So, and it's got the bamboo extract, grapeseed oil, and moringa oil. It's supposed to seal in moisture, minimize frizz, and add shine, provides thermal protection. So I'm gonna try this out today and see if it does any good. But I wanted to honor my 19 item haul and put that in there at the very beginning. But enough of talking about that. Let's get to the Use Your Stash premise of this series, video 1. I'm going to be doing pre-poos. Now, pre-poos are something that, in my understanding of the traditional sense, is obviously something that comes before the shampoo, the thing that happens in the shower with the water, generally speaking. Now, there are some what I would find branded traditional, excellent, I think high-end, maybe some people would say middle range affordable, I don't know, pre-poos that are marketed as such as the Nature's Little Secret Fenugreek Detangling Pre-Poo made with fenugreek extract. This is 100% made to detangle. This is the first pre-poo that I have that is opened in my stash that I'm going to be trying to get through before opening another unopened pre-poo. It is by far the one that I have, of course, as you see, it's at least opened, but it's very watery consistency. I don't want to mess it up, and I'm going to be, I'm gonna shake it up, get all that stuff in there. I'm going to be using this up probably sooner than later because it is a fresher item that is supposed to be used quicker, but it is the standard, most classical sense of the pre-poo that I've been aware of. And it is by far probably, I would say, one of my favorites. Definitely out of the ones I have here, which is the ones that are open and that I'm trying to use my stash about. But out of the ones that I've tried before I started filming This one is by far my favorite. It is not probably the most affordable, but I will cross that bridge when I get to what my favorite most affordable is, if it's in this video. Okay, so the next one I have, which is one I've only tried a couple times and I'm also very excited, that is also marketed as a pre-poo as well, is the Carol's Daughter Goddess Strength and Length Detangle Protect Ultra Shield Pre-Poo for weak prone hair. I've used it, as you see, at least once. Might have been twice, but I know at least once. And I thoroughly enjoyed it and knew I was going to use it again, but kind of paused because I went, ooh, I want to plan a time when I use this. I don't just want to gobble it up. Kind of the same as the Nature's Fenugreek Detangling Pre-Poo. These two are definitely out of the marketed pre-poos that I have here. I have to say, probably higher on the list of the ones, which is why they have so many. This one is, if I didn't show, this one's about here on it, as you can see. So I use it at, you know, this is such a watery consistency. I probably used it a couple times and then paused because I wanted to savor it. And then this one I probably used at least once, but a couple times, and paused because I wanted to savor it. But these two are in my stash. I will be gobbling them up before I open anything new. Moving on. All right, I have some other, I'm just looking through here to see where I'm at on that. Okay, so those are the only ones that I have that are kind of marketed as actual pre-poos. The rest of these items are things that I, generally speaking, will, can, and do use in a lot of different manners, or gonna, even a couple of them now that I'm looking, are gonna try to use, attempt, see, experiment, as sort of a pre-poo-esque attempt. Now, one of the more classic things that I've used as a pre-poo on here that you guys probably know more about is going to be this one. It's going to be the Sultanicals Knot Sauce Coil Detangler with blue malva and coconut nectar. This one is about to, like, if I'm, it's probably about to, like, right here. I'm so close to being done with this bad boy. It's like one of the, it's the, by far the biggest hair care product I have currently. And I got another jumbo from them as well, that I sadly did not get on film, but before I got rid of it. But I will probably get them again, but not anytime soon because of how much is actually in my stash. But even though it can be a leave-in, which I believe I did use as a leave-in with a couple of the other Sotanical items. If you watched the empties video, I think I brought that up as well. But the last two times I pre-pooed, I used this and probably the #1 pre-poo of all time. Do I have it? I do. #1 pre-poo of all time, which is water. These two together is sometimes the best pre-poo. So that is kind of what I'm gonna definitely be going to. I might try to use the last bit up as a leave-in one last time and see how it does, but the last two times it did a pre-poo, it did a pretty bang-up job, I should say. And I may, if time permits, just try to get it out of this big bad boy and put it in something smaller so I can get this in an empty. Who knows? We shall see. Okay, so I also do some other non-traditional things as pre-poos, and these are going to be ones that I've tried, I'm gonna try, and are also sort of steps in the earlier process that you may either see again, or this may be the avenue in which I choose to introduce these processes, such as co-washes. So I've got a couple co-washes here that I've tried that to me can and have be used by a pre-poo. So this one I've used in the traditional co-wash sense, and to my recollection, because I've had it for quite some time, unfortunately, I believe I've used it as a pre-poo in an emergency. It is the Briogeo Curl Charisma with rice amino plus shea hydrating co-wash is what it is. And it is, like anyone who is familiar with the more upper priced Briogeo brand, it is a nicer product. It is good for what you get, and because it is more protein based, I believe, it's a good, you know, protein product to have in your rotation, since you want to make sure you do get, you know, protein rotated in your wash day, usually in conditioning, but starting from even your pre-poos or in your cleansing conditioning step is the way to go. So that is a use your stash. Another co-wash that I have used up, and actually, one second, how much do I have in here? I've been saying that, and this one is hard to tell because it's just a big white bottle. I can imagine I have, like, this one is going to be one that I probably should, if I'm to be honest, store upside down, see if I can get it all to just accumulate down here, and then kind of get a better idea of what it looks like. If you watched my empties video, you know that I'm not opposed to cutting into a product. In fact, if I can with ease, I will. This doesn't look like it would be a product that I could cut into with ease. So my hope is I can find an alternative to empty it, if at all humanly possible. So here's hoping. Okay, thank you for letting me go back to that. But some of my other two co-washes that I use during the wash day that I'm going to try to rotate in and get used up, but can also be sort of in that pre-poo beginning wash day phase, is going to be the Soul Tentacles Hair Body Soul Friendly Curl Play Intense Co-Wash Treatment. This one is much easier. I can tell where I'm at on this one. This one I'm about right here. I'm about right here on this one. So I probably have 2-3 uses maybe, depending. Pre-poo versus co-wash, water versus, water running down, no spray bottle. You never know, right? This one is also, because Sotanicals is a nicer quality brand, can't get these kind of things in the store necessarily, especially not these kind of fun catch them while you can type items. It is pretty decent quality, so I'm gonna be using this bad boy up as, you know, mid-week washes when the weekends get away from me. Life's getting busier, crazier. Pre-poo if I need to just get it out of my stash. But it's gonna be getting out of here, because I have things that I want to open up, and I also, as you can see, have so many other things that I don't want it to go bad. Waste not, want not. Another co-wash that I got on sale, I believe it was at Ulta, is a Magnifique brand that I used some of, not used enough of, but I'm going to use this one up, but sadly I'm not sure if it's even available for repurchase, so it does make me sad, but I'll enjoy every minute of it. It's the Camille Rose, the Recipe for Beauty Caramel Co-Wash Cleansing Conditioner, Coconut and Rosemary Oils, a cleansing dessert indulgence for the hair, sweetened with pure caramel extracts. You know, I just feel like this is gonna be for when I need the I love you, treat yourself time. I have already used it. It's one of those two that kind of coats everywhere a little bit though, so it's a little bit harder to tell, but I'm gonna say I'm right here. So I've used, or is it right there? I don't know. I've used a bit of it, as you see, not full. And like most Camille Rose products, it is divine. I will more than likely do the exact same thing with this that I said I would do with this. However, given how rare it might be to refind it, given how much I love Camille Rose, how in the upper price range Camille Rose is, I'm going to be really honest, these two things might not be at the top of the list to get through. It's really difficult to say. It's almost like these two might be at the top of the list because they're really almost done, and if I can just get the stuff out of them in some way, shape, or form, they're gone. These two, ooh, can I do this? I should have tried to do it the other way. I will. These two, I hate to see go. I really enjoy them. They're not ones because of their price tag that I could just purchase and pick up willy-nilly once they're gone. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find this one as accessibly as this one either, but I've already made a point that I'm going to dive more into Carol's Daughter, just like I'm going to dive more into Camille Rose, but I can't do any more of those deep dives into the brands because I've only tried a couple items of each of these two brands, so I don't have much overall thoughts on what I like, what I don't like. I can sort of talk about the products, but I need to use them a little more. I've only used a few products here and there. As we go through more of the stash videos, you'll probably see these brands pop up again. But I don't have a lot of information to go into detail. So I'm gonna wait to use these until I use up some of the other ones. But I love everything with Nature's Little Secret. There's very few things that I, except for recent papaya items, I believe, that I haven't tried. So I know I could get through this. I need to just bite the bullet and get through this, and I will purchase it again when available. Same with botanicals. It's hard to get. It's kind of a catch and go. Grab it if you can, if you have the money, if you can, and if it sells out very quickly. But I know I'm going to buy from botanicals again. These two can leave my stash, not because I want to see them go, it will be bittersweet, but because the love in my heart is already there for these two brands. So I want to see them go. So I already kind of know with those ones how I'm getting them out, but there's other things that when you have an item that you're like, I like it, it functions its purpose, it does what it needs to do, but I don't necessarily see myself using it for its function as frequently as it probably needs to be used, but I need to find a way to use it up. So I've got some of these things here that I'm also going to be trying to use up and I think thinking about them in a pre-poo, pre-cleansing sense potentially might be a good way to go, because if your pre-poo is an epic fail, no worries, you've detangled your hair in some capacity, right? Given it some attention, given it some sort of moisture, some sort of hopefully slip to get it out of whatever form you've put it in through a week or 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, right? Depending on what kind of protective style, could be longer. So you want something that's just gonna start making it more malleable. So some of the things I'm gonna start trying that are open and used at least, you know, once, to be fair, that I kind of just want to use my stash with, is gonna be as follows. The first one I have is gonna be the TPH by Taraji, the Ultra Chill and Energizing and Cooling Serum, Wake Up, Calm, Refresh. Now, I pulled this out and I hadn't been using this when I first got it with my huge big TPH haul, because she was the first person who I made my very first natural hair product junkie haul. I will forever love TPH. I will forever continue to buy TPH as long as it is available, and I will be sad to see it ever leave the shelves or accessibility online. However, this is one of the items that, because I don't do like long-term braids, I don't usually need this, but I also had other different scalp combing things, and so I'm going to be trying to use this up. Same with the thermal thing, you know, maybe it's because it's 4 fluid ounces. So if it was a little smaller, here's what I would say. If it was a little smaller, I could travel with this, and I feel like that would be darn near perfect. Because then I could take it everywhere with me as I go. With that said, I'm gonna put it in my backpack, in the car, things like that, and I'm gonna try to use it up, but worst case scenario, it kind of feels a little liquidy. Boom, 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 boom. I could try to use it as a pre-poo. Right, start getting in there, making the scalp more malleable, right? Trying to squeeze it in your hand, maybe, seeing if you can get some of the hair out to start just making it work. I mean, anything with water, I'm sure could be possible. It is supposed to be a cool, energizing serum. I'm gonna just kind of see where this takes me, but that is a very potential to use up type item. I'm gonna put that over there with that so I can get that. Another thing that is pretty common for using as a pre-poo, if you are in these curly girl streets, it's using a conditioner, right? Usually a rinse out, probably a silicone, usually a big bad boy like Giovanni or Tresemme, heck, Dollar Tree, Suave, something cheap, because it's just going down the drain. But in honor and in line of the other item, I'm going to try to be not only using up the stash, but gonna try to be using up and trying to just make my hair more malleable, even for potentially pre-pooing or pre-shampooing, if not throughout the day. It's from the same line by TPH. It is the Mint Conditioner, a tingling scalp conditioner, replenish, soften, moisturizer, right? So this is, the nozzles, if you don't know, are made to obviously get right there in the scalp for usually protective styles, right? If you have braids and sew-ins and all sorts of other wonderful protective styles that, honestly, it's kind of early. And I'm gonna pause because I'm seeing we're about 20, almost 25 minutes in, and we're almost done, so it won't be that long of a video, but it's early, so I won't get into all of them. But I don't find I use this as much because I don't do protective styles that often. But with us being into summertime and me having used this at least a handful of times in summers past, I'm gonna try to use it up. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna try it as a pre-poo. This is probably obviously gonna be more of a successful pre-poo than the serum, because this is what this is for. But either way, shout out to TPH, and using a conditioner as a pre-poo, this is on my list. Maybe a travel one, for just sanity and potentially ease, but this is 8 fluid ounces, and she does know how to tingle. She does know how to tingle. All right. So when I'm looking at what I have left, I only have 4 items left, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. I'd appreciate you for being here for the first in the Use Your Stash series, pre-poos and pre-wash, beginning cleansers that I have open that I'm trying to use up. I'm trying to think if I've used any of these as a pre-poo. Maybe one of them, but these are ones that are not traditional pre-poos. They're not marketed as pre-poos, but they're things that, because of the consistencies they are gonna be things that I will be, the consistencies they are and the size, they're gonna be used as pre-poos. This one is a little more traditional. Shouldn't have led with it, but it's just the biggest out of all of these. I've only tried it once for its normal purpose. It's the Carol's Daughter Goddess Strength and Length System Fortifying Conditioner for Weak Prone Hair. This obviously looks familiar because it is the mama product to apparently the baby pre-poo. I've only used this once. This was used mainly by other household members, and so it has now finally moved its way into my possession again, to be used with its pairing shampoo, unopened. Spoiler alert to that, a video well in the future. But there's so much of it. This is 28 fluid ounces that I got at TJ Maxx. Shout out to TJ Maxx. I was like, I'm gonna be able to use this so many different ways before I probably even touch the shampoo. Quite frankly. Why not put this in this video and get this a shout out? Because you can use conditioners as pre-poos. And even though it may not be at the top of the list because of some of the other priorities and or close to empties, get out the stash things I have, it's in there. And I just wanted to tease and show what's still to come. This next one, I'm sure there's more that I could know, and I'm sure there's more that I could say. But it's one that is not made to be a pre-poo. You hear me sitting there shaking it. It's not made to be a pre-poo. It's marketed to be a gel, but it's so watery. It came in a, I believe, a curl box. Don't quote me. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Curl box. If you know, you know. Tear. I wish it would come back. I feel like I've used it a bit, as you could see. It's about right here. It is the Sotanicals Aloe Be Thy Name Ayurvedic Hair Gel with aloe juice, marshmallow, argan, and hibiscus. Now, I believe I would say when I just barely started using this bad boy this summer. It was on my shelf for a minute because it came like this, and I was like, what do I do with that? And I was not quite sure how to wrap my head around it, and I'm not a big social media girly, so didn't dive, I was like, and waste not, want not, I have so many products. I was just like, so I was like, okay, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. Sure enough, I finally got to it. And I kind of just busted it out as a quick refresher when I was traveling. And so it was okay. But as a refresher, I just was putting it on top of and using it to create some sort of refreshed malleability on products that I probably, especially now, don't even remember if it or it would have liked or been compatible with, or what sort of ingredients, silicones, no silicones, I don't know. So it was one of those things that I didn't really give it a fair chance when I used it, and I just kind of kept haphazardly, because of its very slippery consistency, just like pumping it out and like occasionally like throwing it on top of here and there. And so I want to dedicate using it in some way, shape, or form, just as it is, so I can judge it for itself. However, at the end of the day, we all kind of know it's great ingredients because it is botanicals, and I was just looking at the ingredients. It's absolutely fabulous ingredients. Aloe vera, hibiscus, marshmallow, slippery elm, agave nectar. I'm missing some other things that I don't even want to pronounce, but and not too many more outside of that. So you know it's good. At the end of the day, I can use this as a pre-poo. It is so watery. I could put this in a spray bottle or dump this on my head as is if I wanted to. So I'm putting this in here because it's open, I'm using it, it's getting out of my stash. We are not gonna see this going into 2026. Mark my words. All right, down to the last two. These ones are at very opposite ends of this of the wash day spectrum. They're both slightly bigger products, but they're also ones that have the consistency that, quite frankly, at the end of the day, I could use and probably will, just to get them out my stash. May not be now, could be later, as pre-poos. I'll start from beginning to wash day to end. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Curlsmith Vivid Tones Vibrancy Shampoo, their color recipe. This is a big jumbo thing that I got for a deal at one of my many Marshall, TJ Maxx, Ross stop-offs. I've since taken off the tag because I think I thought I was going to give it to someone, but because it's Curlsmith, kind of pricier, because it has such kind of great natural ingredients, I wanted to try it once before even sort of giving it away, gifting it, if you will, kind of like the natural hair care fairy. I made sure to try it, and I tried it and I liked it so much that I kept it. And I feel so bad for whoever probably might have got it, but I'm now down to about, I'm doing pretty good. I'm down to probably about like right here, based on what I can kind of see. Hit or miss around here, guys. Hit or miss around here. It's hard to see. So I don't have much, but as people know, it's a shampoo. You don't need a lot of shampoo. But this sort of slippery, consistency that it is, the sort of slimy, slippery consistency, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a nice consistency that's honestly slightly gel-like. It's slightly different. I mean, it comes in a pump, but I don't know, it's so different that I like the malleability of almost kind of like working it through my hair. So I could see myself, because it's so big, because I'm almost there, because shampoos are hard to get through, because you don't usually need a lot of shampoo to cleanse your hair, especially if it's one worth its salt, and it's doing its function. I can see myself using this as a pre-poo, and I may use it as a pre-poo. If I do, and or when it becomes an empty, I will try to report, and if you're interested in it, let me know. Okay, finally, and let's wrap this up. I have talked longer than I thought, and my apologies. The final product that I'm gonna possibly use as a pre-poo, because of its consistency and its size, is from Weedad. It's Advanced Climate Control Anti-Frizz Nanotechnology Heat and Humidity Gel. Define curls, lock out humidity, stronger hold. All curl types. Okay. Just for size measure here. Okay, this is 16 fluid ounces. This is 32 fluid ounces. And what was this? Oh, this was 32 fluid ounces. Interesting. These two are the same fluid ounces, but different sizes. Okay. And this is 28 fluid ounces. Okay. So for size meter for everyone, right? So this is kind of bigger for a gel at 16 fluid ounces. It's very watery as well. If you are familiar with Weedad for a gel, we are in summer. I'm gonna try to get this, I've used it at least once, maybe twice within the last summer or so. But it's not as used as some of the other items, unfortunately. It's probably around the label mark because of just how thin it is too. So I'm gonna try to use this up, but because of its very specific need that I don't have to use quite all the time, I feel like it's one of two things. It's either use it more creatively, such as potentially as a pre-poo because of its slippery consistency, which maybe, especially as we're kind of in the heat, a pre-poo could be nice. It could be worth a shot, or it's gonna be in my stash forever. Now, because it's not as big as some of the other ones that I have and or have had, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it being in my stash forever. But but because I have not only products that you are gonna see in upcoming videos for other parts of the wash day, such as cleansing, styling, etc., that are opened that I still have to get through, but then I still have all my wash day stash that is unopened that I still have to get through. So my hope is that I can get through as many of this stash throughout the year, open first and then unopened, before really truly buying anything else. And with the way the world and the tariffs and all the things and society is, even though I don't follow it much because of how scary, I know that the fact that I am trying not to buy much of the things that I don't need because I have so much of it, as you see, as we're dipping the toe in, it's gonna be the better. So I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for sticking in. We are almost 40 minutes, more than I thought. This is just the beginning. I have a couple more videos coming. Hope to see you soon if you like what you see. Bye.